It's Monsieur Neuvillette.
Welcome to the Fortress of Meripede, dear esteemed guests.
We're back! Oh, and a greeting from none other than the Duke himself! Guess we made it.
This isn't anything new. I figured you had important matters to discuss when the two of you... Let's assume we've gone through the pleasantries and cut right... I do remember a thing or two about Domenico. He once attempted to round up the other inmates and...
Who does this guy think he is?
He once attempted to, I said, meaning that it was over before it even started. And now to be honest, Domenico doesn't seem like much of a conspirator. The fact that the three of you bothered to personally investigate raises...
He's got the same concerns we do.
I am concerned about this incident because something similar has occurred in the past. I wish to meet Domenico in person.
That's an easy one. Let me think.
Did I hear someone say Melusine? What happened? Siegeween! Yeah, and we're investigating. The person who threatened her seems to really...
There's no need to worry. Clarande is protecting her.
Well, that's great. But if the criminal's still...
Ah, head nurse. Do you require me to
Wriothesley.
Okay, I get it. I'll bring Domenico to you.
Think of it as more of a humble request. I'm here on my own accord, not to formally transfer a criminal for trial. Thanks for the trouble. Consider me in...
Whoa! If Paimon were you here, Grace, Paimon would take this chance to ask for something really...
Well, were I still a criminal, I'd probably ask for a lighter sentence. But I'm sure Monsieur Neuvillette... But enough jokes. I'll look for Domenico and make yourselves at home. Our dear head nurse has mentioned you quite a few times, so I'm sure she...
Please come with me to the infirmary. Ah, and watch your step. There's some pretty dark areas, so make sure you don't trip over anything.
Now that I think about it, I can leave this place soon. Huh?
Please rest here for a moment. Oh, and would anyone like anything to drink? Paimon, thirst is a warning. I'll bring you some tea. I'm sure... Typical Siegeween. Concerned, why aren't you two saying anything?
You noticed them too. The badges they wore on their chest.
Familiar? Paimon didn't even but if both of you say so, let's go ask them about it.
That's not a bad idea.
Anything you need? Oh, this? Are you...
What's that?
We have a very long history. Going back, we have never had many members throughout our... Helping each other is our purpose. At the same...
Sounds like a pretty neat org.
All we want is to defend ourselves. But people won't give us a hard...
Interested in... If you'd like to learn more, here... Our slogan may have evolved. Here, this...
You two look kind. It's the symbol of the mutual aid. From what I've heard, it's based on something called a Medal of Peace. I've never seen one of those medals for. The first president of all of us have a lot of.
We should have gathered enough information. Let's head back and talk to Neuvillette.
Did you manage to gather any?
The people, according to them.
I personally... Carol's medal was destroyed in a fire. The only one that remained.
Oh, so the network. Monsieur Neuvillette, His Grace has requested your presence in his office.
All right. Let us talk to him.
Allow me to introduce this fine gentleman, Domenico. Why don't you explain everything to him?
Neuvillette? What do you want?
Calm down. I merely want to ask you if... Was it your idea to send that... Hassan has already confessed, so there really isn't...
That idiot!
Let me ask this another way. It was your idea...
Yeah.
Who is pulling...
What? You're not trying to frame me for something I haven't done, are...
It's best if you realize the gravity of your situation. The Chief Justice of Fontaine... I assume your previous attempt to incite unrest at the Fortress of Meripede has something to do...
I admit I acted on impulse.
I can do that.
You see, we're all reasonable people here.
I only intended to do some small business at first. Someone contacted me about delivering some goods. After making a few trips, I was suddenly approached by the Marechaussee Phantom. They accused me, but I refused to accept any of that. The
And then you decided to take revenge on the Melazines? Over that?
Ya pasti uang saya langsung saya ambilin.
My initial target, but in the end I had to redirect my focus. I recall that Kiara, but the letter wasn't
Am I to assume...
No.
Is it true that...
Yes.
Sigewinne, please take him back to the detention center. I'll deal with... So, Monsieur Neuvillette, you were concerned that there might be a shadowy faction looking to capitalize on the delicate situation.
Yes. I experienced a similar incident in the past.
And how long ago was the...
More than 400 years.
You might be overthinking this. Time can change a lot of things.
What do you mean?
400 years ago, you and the Melazines you brought to Fontaine were the outliers, but in the present day, if someone were to threaten the safety of the Melazines, people wouldn't just sit back and do nothing.
That's right! We saw lots of people standing up for Melazine.
Monsieur Neuvillette, the Melazines are a species you introduced to Fontaine. how the public treats them. When people refused to place their trust in Melusines, it was because they were still on the fence about you, their unfamiliar Chief Justice. For almost 500 years, you've conducted every trial with impartiality. You made the right judgment each time, regardless of whatever nonsense. People no longer have any reservations about you, and even consider you a symbol. Right now, your every decision will impact all of Fontaine. In other words, you've
Paimon gets it now. No wonder no one wanted to join forces with Domenico.
I am undeserving of such high compliments. From my perspective, I have simply been fulfilling my duties. It isn't anything special or worthy of praise. I'm simply fulfilling the promises I've made, and so it is unnecessary to hold me in such high regard. The complexity of human emotions and willpower far exceed those of mine.
There's no need to be so modest. The current state of affairs says it all. You're no longer that outsider you were before. Even if you wished to investigate something on your own, many would take the initiative.
I must say that you've made a fair point. Thank you for clearing my doubts. Now that the case has been...
Huh? You're leaving?
And so soon, too? Why not?
Thank you for the offer, but I know how this plays. While some are here to redeem themselves, there will inevitably be those. The less time I spend here, the better. My presence could very well...
In that case, I'll have to insist.
Please.
The first is about the guard who helped Domenico.
I know of what you... The guard was indeed deployed from the Palais Memornia's staff. However, as I mentioned earlier, I visited today on personal business.
Well, that makes things a lot easier. Hey now, don't let your imagination... Those from up there have a tendency to sympathize with others. However, down here, such thoughts will put you at high... I'll have a chat with the guard and remind him to take precautions in the future.
I see no issues with that.
Great! That's one thing out of the way.
The other thing was born from my own sense of curiosity. Now, I've heard that you investigate...
Yep. Neuvillette thought their badges looked...
I noticed the small gang as well when I first took over the Fortress of Meripede. They were not great in number, but every member always made sure to stand. I've looked into their founder, Vautrin, who once stood trial and was sentenced to According to existing documentation, Vautrin remained disciplined throughout his imprisonment. He had never once engaged in other words, how he presented himself in prison was very different from his behavior.
What? During his trial, I could sense that his feelings were complicated. He appeared to be full of resentment.
Perhaps he had been putting on an
act?
Neuvillette and Vautrin had a close relationship as superior and subordinate. Vautrin must have known that the Chief Justice would thus, the more resentment he displayed, the clearer it would be to those present that you were, and to those who had been sitting on the fence. Vautrin's act was a very meaningful... That's all from me. Does anyone else have anything to say?
I don't have anything to say. Apart from... Well then, let us head back.
Please, take care.
That trial is something I rarely bring up in conversation, but I have always felt deep regret for what happened to both Carol and Vautrin. The words he spoke in court often replay in my mind, as if urging me on to do something.
But Risley said he never resented you, right? Isn't that a good thing?
I believe I now understand what he wanted to tell me. I feel conflicted about those words. How should I describe it? Surprise, relief, fear, and regret. But this blend of emotions has led me to finally understand some things. I would like to hear your thoughts, too. What do you think of me?
Paimon agrees with everything Risley said. As Chief Justice, every single one of your trials makes an, hey, and...
What I really think is, every trial you've ever judged has left its impression on you. And that's what makes you who you are today.
That, as I said, I find it difficult to express my emotions because I cannot fully understand myself. But I trust your judgment. Since some time ago, these changes were not due to any specific occurrence, but I will try to contemplate this further.
Oh, huh? It's raining! Oh no, Paimon forgot to bring an umbrella! Come on, let's hurry before it rains harder!
It's raining again? I've had enough of this weather.
There go my travel plans.
Did you read the news this morning? Quick, put away everything on the clothesline.
When is this rain going to stop?
Hydro Dragon, don't cry!
They're planning to reanimate the monster. We have to report this to the Chief Justice.
The Fortress of Meripede. It's a good place for me.
He owes me so many answers.
Neuvillette? You could say he's the real symbol of Fontaine's justice.
Watch him closely. He could be trouble.
How can two completely different species possibly coexist?
Who's been threatening Melusines? Show yourself!
You will see much in the human world, from the delightful to the depressing. And one day, when you have dwelt among humanity long enough, you will be placed to bring judgment over all as a spokesperson for Fontaine's past. Good morning, Monsieur Neuvillette! The rainy season's almost over! The skies are supposed to clear in a few days!
I hope you find time to enjoy the sunny days ahead.
Is the matter resolved?
Yep, we found the person who sent that threatening letter. Risley said he'd keep a close eye on him, so the Melusines...
Oh, that's one...
Sorry for dragging you.
There's no need to apologize.
Yeah, you didn't drag us in. We got involved of our own...
by the way...
At the Palais Mermonia, more than 50 people offered to protect her. I was worried that the excess of protection would make her feel uneasy. So I asked her to stay and...
Well, now it looks like the dust has finally to celebrate this joyous occasion. Monsieur Neuvillette...
That's not how you celebrate...
I will consider it.
Really?
Of course. My schedule is full for the following weeks, but I should come up with questions during the intervening days, and I will answer them to the best of my ability.
Yes!
Now, if you'll excuse me, I must head back to the Palais and issue a communique to public. I hope it will assuage the...
off on your own, or you might not be allowed to leave.
Kiara? It's quite all right. I'm here to tell you that we have caught the...
Thank you, Monsieur, and thank you too, Traveler and Big Sis Paimon.
Do you remember Domenico? He was...
Let me think. By the way, I saw Carol in my dreams just now. Where's she gone, by the way? In my dream, she looked really happy. She held my hand and said, I can't remember what our dreams were anymore. And I don't...
I can sense your joy.
Oh, I almost forgot. I promised to model for Ayla.
Of course.
See you next time, Monsieur, Traveler.
See you next time.